Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome to the In the Mixer podcast. I'm your host Phil, and today we are talking about some serious Euro action. We've got the knockout stages coming up. We are done with the groups. It's the knockouts now, and we've got some big games to talk about and preview for you. And we're going to go through the last of the group games. And to do that, we've got two brilliant men here who know everything about the game of football. We've got Elliot from Sweden, and we've got Michael from Eden.
Hi.
Debatable, but
There's rhymes.
I'm not from Eden, but we'll do it. Given that my surname's Eden, I'll let it run.
It counts. It counts. You're from the Eden family.
Okay, no,
You're in that tree.
The garden.
Maple family tree. The Garden of Eden tree. You're in the tree in the Garden of Eden.
carry on.
Your
Carry
apple's
on
been picked.
with the show.
Okay. Okay, so I don't know where you guys want to start. Do you just want to go through the list of games we've got in the next round?
you're the host.
Some really exciting ties. Some really exciting ties.
Yes.
First up on Saturday, we've got Switzerland Poland.
It'd be a close game, I think.
I think this is a very close game.
Yeah.
Switzerland, who qualified second in Group A. Poland, who qualified second in Group C. Both second to probably the two favourites for the tournament. Maybe the top one, two of the top three now. And would you say both teams pretty much under-impressed and underachieved in the group stages, considering what they offered? Not particularly in where they finished in the group, but more in terms of performances. I mean, Poland especially, in terms of goal scoring.
Well, if you don't get Lewandowski scoring, as I've pretty much said, I think I've said this every single episode, and I just feel like I'm repeating myself, but if Poland hasn't got Lewandowski scoring and they still got through. So they're going to be a real threat if they actually get him to get a few goals. But I think they've looked good, on the ball. Just, that finishing touch with the Milik not being the most clinical striker. I think they played well. You can argue that Switzerland have underperformed. And definitely Shaqiri, because I think he's been absolutely awful in this tournament. But they still got through second, as they should have done. So I don't think you can blame them.
Yeah.
Shaqiri.
I think I'm gonna agree with Elias. I think Poland have almost been given an opportunity to really have a go at this tournament now if they can get Lewandowski scoring in the knockout stages. And I think the draw for them's pretty good because I don't think Switzerland have shown much. But Poland, I've shown a lot of positives without Lewandowski. Milik is still getting into his finishing has been awful. He's still getting into really good positions and still being a threat. I think it'll be a really close game because, like you said, both teams have underperformed from what we expected, but both have still made it through as they were expected to in the group stages. Probably just because the other teams in the group, if that makes sense. They've made it through second because they are, without a doubt, the second best team in the group. And I think the teams in the groups have helped them get to that position, if that makes any sense to you. I'm not calling the teams rubbish, but you understand what I'm saying.
It's to do with seeding.
Yeah,
I think.
and so I think this is the positive of this the way that the brackets have worked, and that I think we've got a pretty good matchup here.
Yeah, the brackets are very interesting indeed, because of course the winner of Switzerland-Poland, I think, will play the winner of Wales-Northern Ireland. Is that
I think
right?
it's Croatia-Portugal.
Oh, Croatia-Portugal, sorry. And this half of the draw, you're missing Italy, Germany, France, England, and Spain. If you want to play one of them and you're on this half of the draw, you're going to have to wait till the finals to play one of those, and they're arguably the big boys in this competition. Admittedly, you have teams like Croatia, Portugal, and Belgium who have all impressed in the group stages, but it's got to be favourable for a team like Switzerland and Poland. And also, I thought Switzerland, a little highlight for them is who they're going to be starting up front against Poland. Will they go back to Seferovic, or will the new Schalke striker Brilambolo continue?
Whoa! Don't get ahead of
front on his
yourself.
own?
It is not 100%.
Oh, I thought it was done.
Yet.
Sorry, I thought it was done.
It is apparently as good as done, but it won't be confirmed until after the Euros. So don't tempt fate. But
I imagine the Schalke are probably waiting for the sale of Sane to be confirmed. Before they announce that.
Yeah, I think that apparently it is. Well, German. I know we're getting a bit off topic, but German media have said it is completely separate. A separate deal, but I still feel that there's a big reliability on that Sane deal going to either Bayern or City.
Yeah,
But
I
anyway,
think,
that's besides the point.
yeah, I think that was a major jinx by Phil, and now you're not going to get him, Bowler.
Yeah,
Let's hope so.
No, let's not.
I want him at Spurs.
Okay.
Yeah, so the winner of that game, obviously, we said would play Croatia or Portugal. Now, interesting in the Croatia-Spain game. I don't know if you saw the Luka Modric little mind games where he told, is it Subasic, the Croatian goalkeeper? He told him which way to dive for the Ramos penalty, and then Busquets told Ramos, and then obviously the penalty was saved in that game.
Why did Ramos
So
take
we've got
that
two.
penalty? Jeez.
I don't know. But if
Fantasy
he
points.
scores, then everyone's loving it. To be fair, he has good penalties in penalty shootouts.
Uh-huh.
I mean, actually,
But
does he?
come
Does he?
on.
No, he
No.
doesn't. I think that ball's
Come
still
on.
rising
Yeah.
from like 2011. But yeah. So obviously we've got a Manchester United, a Real Madrid rivalry here, I guess, of Modric and Ronaldo, Pepe as well, of course. You got Rakitic. I think this is gonna be an absolute banger of a game. But then again, we said that about Croatia Turkey, and that was pretty dull. And we said that about loads. No one would have predicted Hungary and Portugal to be the game of the Euro so far, and it is. It was. So was. Yeah. So I don't know what you guys think about Croatia Portugal with some really world class players on display.
I still think that Croatia can go through pretty easily because,
So do I.
yeah, as we saw from the Hungary-Portugal game, Portugal had no idea what they're doing when it comes to defending. Like, they showed they can actually score goals. They showed that Ronaldo is still a top-class player, but what was the defensive display and what was Rui Patricio doing for pretty much every goal?
Yeah, I had Rui Patricio in my fantasy team, and I regret it so much. I'm going to definitely transfer him out because, it doesn't give you high hopes if you concede 3 against Hungary, and then you have to play a Croatia side that is strong, like it is really solid. And I think Croatia, like you'd look at these two teams before the tournament and you think, oh, it could be a close game, but Portugal will probably win. I think it's the complete opposite now. The way the tournament's gone, I think Croatia, if they didn't walk through this round, I think they should be really disappointed because I think Portugal are really weak, and I think Ronaldo is now completely frustrated. And you saw him throw the microphone in the lake, like that. I think that sums up his tournament. So.
Well, he did score twice against Hungary, to be fair.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We talked about when I was analysing Portugal in a few podcasts ago. We said that Ronaldo has carried Portugal through some of their qualifiers. I think was it again? I'm trying to think who it was against. There was a game where they were playing against a really poor team and losing 2-0, and Ronaldo
That was
scored
Real
a
Madrid
hat-trick.
against Wolfsburg, I think.
No, it was definitely a Portugal game. And
Anyway,
but yeah, and I like Ronaldo. Ronaldo's not going to turn up. I hope he doesn't turn up because he's been selfish and whatever. And I think Croatia are a lot better team than Portugal. A lot better, working as a unit. Portugal are all over the place, like Elias said. It's like a team of selfish players.
I think there's a couple of key things to take from this game. Firstly, actually not from this game, is the fact that if you're looking for a goalkeeper, if you can figure out who's starting out of Szczesny and Fabianski, Poland have kept a clean sheet every game so far, and they're against a poor a Switzerland side who can't seem to find the back of the net for whatever reason. But yeah, it's interesting to say, obviously, I was going to pick out Modric, who may not play after he didn't play against Spain. I think he is going to start, but even so, Croatia's performance against Spain without him they were unbelievable. They really played well.
Yeah, they did.
Obviously, Spain had a lot of possession, and they were perhaps unfortunate not to win with the penalty and things like that. But I think that Spain's defense, and we'll move on to Spain soon, but I think Spain's defense in that game were questionable. And Croatia are obviously a very good team going forward, and they've created so many chances in this competition. And I think we go back all the way back to the Turkey game; they should have won like 4-0. And I think Croatia are a really good dark horse for this tournament at this point, and they could easily get to the final.
Especially with their route to the final. It's...
Well, if they win, they'll play Switzerland or Poland, winnable. If they win that, they'll play Hungary, Belgium, Wales, or Northern Ireland.
And yeah,
the only one out of them you'd think would phase them is Belgium.
Yeah.
And they seem to be very inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all irrelevant as Portugal will beat Croatia 7-1. So into the next game, Wales versus Northern Ireland, a lovely little home nation clash. of the Titans. We've got some world-class players on the show here. Gareth Bale, Aaron Ramsey, Carl Lafferty.
Will Grigg.
No, Will Grigg won't be on the show. He's very much rooted to the bench at this moment in time. Who would have thought that a League One striker wouldn't get played at the Euros?
Yeah,
I don't know. But yeah, interesting narrative to this one. I think this is probably the first time these two have met at a major tournament. That's completely off the top of my head. Sorry if that's wrong. I don't know who I want to. I don't know. Don't laugh at that laugh.
No.
I don't know who I want to go through this, because I feel like Northern Ireland's a bit of romance there. They're such an underdog, and it's like they're an underdog against Wales, who aren't even an underdog anymore. They're almost expected to do well now. Would you agree with that? Because of how well they got through the group, and I predicted them to get through
top. So
I predicted them to finish top of the group, and then I also said this was ages ago they'd get to the semis. Although I've come back on that now, I'm beginning to think my initial instincts were correct.
oh right, okay.
Because I can see Hungary beating Belgium if Belgium don't turn up, and then Wales beating Hungary.
Well,
I'm very impressed by Wales. Very impressed.
Well, I'll give you a quick fact. The last time they met at an international tournament, so they have met,
Is this Wales and Northern Ireland?
was at the World Cup in 2005. Wales beat Northern Ireland 3-2. I'm not sure how that works.
That's
but
qualifiers. Must be.
yeah,
that's
yeah.
doesn't
Oh,
count.
yeah, that's an international tournament.
No, it isn't.
No,
it's
it's-
a qualification.
Yeah, it's not a
Yes.
major tournament.
All right, okay. Well, they haven't met then. I was desperate to prove Phil wrong in some shape or form, but besides the point, yeah.
Yes. So in the words of Michael Bublé,
Just haven't met you yet.
they just haven't met each other yet. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
So Northern Ireland obviously played very well to get through. One of the third place teams to get through. What do we think? Do we think they're gonna? I think they're gonna really frustrate Wales, but I think Bale may be the difference in this game.
Well,
because
Tottenham bias, I feel. With
because
that
if you
comment.
look at how Northern Ireland have sat back every game, the games they've lost have been okay. You could argue against Poland they lost 1-0 was Milik and not Lewandowski. Against Germany, you obviously had the likes of Muller and
Germany game wasn't close.
yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But Northern Ireland, they can sit back well as a unit, but when they come up against those top world-class players, they're going to struggle. It's whether you believe Wales have enough world-class players in their squad to really cause a strong unit like Northern Ireland problems. You could argue they don't, you could argue they do. I personally think Wales will probably score against Northern Ireland, and Northern Ireland, I can't see them scoring more than one, if even one goal. I can see this being the Wales 1-0, I think.
that's 1-0 or 0-0. And probably Wales.
4-0?
No, I said 1-0.
Oh, sorry.
0-0.
Sorry.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think Wales going to go through like penalty shootout.
I think Wales are going to smash them. They took apart Russia, so they're going to take apart Northern Ireland.
Oh, but that was a Russia team who had to come out and win.
Yeah, but I think that Wales can. I genuinely think Wales. Like, I know you were saying about your prediction for them to get to the semis. I think this is their big opportunity, and they took their opportunity with qualification. I think they'll do it again here. I genuinely think they'll. Well, I think in the first half it'll be an even game. I think Wales will. I reckon. I'm going to go for 2-0 Wales.
Oh, they're obviously big favourites here, but I think Northern Ireland are a nice little.
Underrated
nice little
for
Nice.
their. I don't know. What
They're not
word.
particularly enjoyable to watch.
No.
They're not particularly exciting, but you know they get their fans behind them. They get the neutrals behind them usually because you're willing them on. But a little mention for Northern Ireland. I wanted to mention. Is it McGovern, the goalkeeper?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been absolutely phenomenal this tournament, and apparently he's without a club at the moment.
Yeah,
Which is just amazing.
good relief.
This Northern Ireland team, it really is just there's Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two players, and even players without clubs. It's unreal. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice little fairy tale, and I'd like them to go beyond the last 16. But they've done it. I think they've probably done themselves proud at this point, to be honest. But they'll play.
That's staying in.
What are we on? So after that smashing endorsement for the Euros, we're going on to onto who Wales and Northern Ireland will play, and that will be the winners of Hungary and Belgium. Hungary, the winners of Group F.
Unbelievable.
Correct?
Yeah.
a phenomenal achievement by them. I think we all agreed they were probably in the bottom 4 at the start of this tournament in terms of quality of teams, but they really have that sense of togetherness, and they're not afraid to attack either. I think in the game against Portugal, 3-3, I think it finished. They can score goals, they can plan the counter-attack, and Belgium, who didn't look defensively sound, and I don't want to say haven't looked defensively sound. They didn't look defensively sound against Italy. I didn't see the game against Sweden. Were they strong at the back in that game?
Sorry, I'll let Ellis.
Sweden, they looked like scoring. It's just we got, I think, 3 shots on target, which is 3 more than we had in.
That's an increase of an infinity percent.
Yeah. And Belgium's backline, they got good players, but I don't know. What's wrong. Like the midfield control game, pretty much.
Yeah. So Hungary, obviously, being able to score goals as they've shown, they've got players like Zizek and is it
Salai?
What's the name of the striker?
Salai.
Yeah. So they obviously can score goals and are going to cause Belgium problems. But do you think the Belgian midfield and attacking presence is just going to be too much for them?
Yes. That's my short answer.
Like, Belgium have typified the nothing to lose mentality in the groups, really well. And
I'd say Hungary have.
Sorry, that's what I meant. I meant
sorry,
Hungary.
okay.
That was my mistake. Thank you for correcting me. But Belgium will still be too strong, I think. But it's with regret that I say it, because I'm pretty sure we wrote Hungary off in almost every game, even the Iceland game. We wrote them off, and they've come out and given us something completely different. In every single game they've turned up. Even the one against Portugal, they were inspiring.
Even Sultan Gera scored. Man,
that was a great goal.
Yeah.
As well.
So
that was probably my favourite goal of the Euro so far.
So it's Belgium should beat them. Belgium have such a strong, individual, such strong individual players. They have such a strong midfield to be able to control the game. The defensive backline is easily good enough to deal with Hungary, and they should be able to score goals with who Elias tipped to be top scorer.
Lukaku. He looked decent in the Sweden game, mainly because Hazard and it was Carrasco had a decent game out wide, and it really looks like Hazard is starting to take more of the ball and control the game. He doesn't really dribble as much, but his passing ability is just ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think on paper, Belgium have to win this, but part of me hopes that Hungary carries on their little run, because they've probably been the most exciting team at the Euros, because nobody just expects them to do anything, and they've completely blown everyone out of the water.
Yeah, well, the real outlier in that group was probably Austria, just flopping completely.
Yeah, so disappointing.
Finishing on 1 point, I think.
I'm gonna make a comment though. I think I said in the last podcast, if Austria have any chance of getting through, they have to start Alexander Schopf, and the man that scored for Austria didn't start, but he did score when he came off the bench in the 63rd minute, was Mr. Alexander Schopf. So, but then he went on to miss a sitter, so I'm not gonna just brush over that part. But
yeah, so top shop. So we're pretty much all Belgium are obviously the favourites. I'm kind of thinking Hungary might pip them to the post there. I really do. I think Hungary. I think they'll at least get them to extra time, but it's such a hard ask, isn't it? Really, for them to knock Belgium out of this competition. Yeah. But it's completely. I think it completely depends on what Belgium turn up. You know, they're a very inconsistent team, and are they going to walk all over this Hungary side, which have shown a lot of vigour and guile, 2 words I've never used before in my life.
Never heard.
So I'm not even sure what they mean. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting. And then of course the winner of that plays Wales, Northern Ireland, which would be exciting to see a rematch of Belgium, Wales from the groups. But yeah, so into the other side of the draw then, and we have got a rematch from a very recent friendly, which Slovakia won 3-1. It's Germany-Slovakia. So you guys, I mean, I think we're all agreed this is pretty much a Germany win zone. Signed, sealed, and delivered. But of course, that friendly is the outlier here. Slovakia did beat Germany very recently, and Marek Hamšík has been on sensational form. And this probably won't be a walkover by any stretch of the imagination, as Germany haven't looked particularly impressive. But I think their experience of success at top level football is probably going to be enough to see them over the line here. What do you guys think?
The problem, I think, is that we saw a different Slovakia when they played against England. They didn't look like they wanted any of the ball. They didn't look like they wanted to do anything with the ball when they got it. And I think England had like 68% possession in that game. If I'm not completely wrong. And yeah, if Slovakia is just going to sit back, they're going to have a lot of problems with Germany because of Germany's creativity and goal-scoring threats.
I think with Slovakia, though, in that game, a point was enough for them. Obviously, a draw isn't going to be enough against Germany, as, you know, if it goes to penalties, Germany will win. I mean, there's no point even doing the penalty shootout. But, yeah, sorry, what were you going to say, Michael?
No, I completely agree with Elias. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they sell, whether they'll go with how they did against England and maybe look to like sneak a goal, or how they did. I wonder if they'll go with the same philosophy they went in the friendly and just try and beat Germany. But I think calling Germany underperforming, I think they were slow to get going, but I think I think the last game in the group was against Northern Ireland, wasn't it? And they should have scored like 5 or 6. They were unlucky not to. It wasn't a case of poor finishing. I think they hit the bar and hit the woodwork 3 times. So they were really good against Northern Ireland, and they've not ever been threatened. Excuse me. They've not ever been. I don't say Germany have ever looked like losing a game so far in the Euros.
See, I disagree with that, because I think the game against Ukraine really opened. Admittedly, Hummels didn't play that game.
Yeah.
But Ukraine caused Germany problems, and if Slovakia look at that Northern Irish performance and look at like sitting back, Germany are going to play their game, they're going to dominate us and probably score more than they did in that game, and then they compare it to the Ukraine game, who, all right, Germany won it 2-0, and I think people have actually forgotten how threatening Ukraine looked in that game. I mean, Berting had to clear something off his line, for goodness sake. I think Mustafi almost scored no goal. All right, that's a bit of an outlier, but there was chances for Konoplyanka and Konoplyanka especially in that game. Slovakia, if they look at this, and they've already beaten Germany with that confidence of that friendly result, if they go for this, they can cause Germany big problems, because I don't think that Germany have been convincing at all personally. And against the Northern Ireland team who sat back like they did, I don't know. I don't want to say like I'm counting the Germans out, because they're probably going to win the whole thing, because that's what Germany do. They win competitions in football. But yeah, I don't know. Have you got anything to add to that? Because it's really hard to justify Germany not doing well in a tournament.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I'll see what Elias's opinion is. I personally think Germany will. I think they'll be really strong in the latter stages of the tournament. They really got going against Northern Ireland and probably should have put away a lot more. But I agree. I somewhat agree with what you said about the game against Ukraine. But I think Mats Hummels being missing is a huge point.
Yeah, Germany in the Ukraine game. It was only the first half really that Ukraine did anything, and after that half, Germany took over the game and just controlled it. I think because they tired out the Ukrainian players. But yeah, Germany has a history of doing well in the later stages of tournaments, so I think the history is going to repeat itself.
Yeah, like in the World Cup, Germany's group stage, apart from, I think they beat like Portugal like 3 or 4-0, but apart from that, they were relatively unimpressive in their group stage. I think they even like drew to someone, I can't remember who, and like topped the group, but obviously not winning every game. But then obviously they still went on to win the tournament, and even in the final, Germany didn't play well in that final. And although it was an extra time winner, they did it. Like Germany didn't, and the Germans play every game like almost like a final. Like they won't give anything to the other team. Like it's a must win for them, and I really like that mentality. And I think this game's going to 100% be Germany's.
The one thing I worry about Germany is who's going to score their goals. Obviously, Muller hasn't really hit the ground running yet. Gomez, I assume, would start after his with the fact that he touched the ball in comparison to Mario Götze.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. But the winner of that one comes up against. It's got to be the biggest tie of the round, the most exciting tie, the repeat of 2012 final. It's Italy, who topped their group, against Spain, who finished second. This, this is love it. I mean, I don't know what to say,
because I swear before the Euro started, no one really would have expected these two teams to have played as strongly as they have at some points, and I think this is such an interesting game because both teams were underrated, not underrated before the tournament, but were maybe not as strong as expected before the tournament, or as previously have been before the tournament. Came in and played some excellent games, and then drifted off at the end of the group stages. I think this is, like you said, the best game. I think it'll be really even because both have different strengths that maybe cancel each other out and things like that. So I think it'll be a great game.
Yeah, Italy rested a lot of players against Ireland, didn't they?
Yeah.
Even Buffon didn't play, so that shows you how much they are relishing this match, and I'm really excited for this one. Do you think it'll be a repeat of the 2012 final? Do you think Spain were going to thrash Italy?
I don't know. So if Italy defend as compactly as they did when they were playing as a full strength team, I think they'll cause Spain problems and frustrate Spain. But Spain still do have that capabilities to hold the ball for as long as they do, and it's not frustrating to them. And the way that they short pass, it can easily break down a really compact defense. That's why it's so successful. But I can't call it. I really cannot call this one. I think it's so interesting. I think the Croatia result as well really throws.
Yes.
Because otherwise, I'd still, even if Italy, with Italy finishing how they have, and playing how they have, I'd still would have had Spain to win that game easily, just because attacking football wins, and Spain are a lot more attacking better going forward than Italy. But that Croatia result really felt like an anomaly, and it's really difficult to judge whether they can break down Italy, which they didn't really do against Croatia, and can Italy do the same as Croatia did, frustrate them slightly, and then just score more.
I think to quote Clyde Tilsley, Barcelona did look a bit of a shambles, especially for the Kalinic goal. Spain's defense has always kind of been a question mark, and it's not really been called into question because how much they keep possession.
Yeah, that's they use their strength, don't they?
Yeah, Italy are happy to let Spain have possession, and it's kind of if Spain, and I mean you saw the pass David Silva play to Fabregas for the first goal, their only goal against Croatia. They can just find space out of nowhere. They can just find runs in space and just get in behind against a compact team, even as good as Italy. It's going to be interesting as well how the systems match up. Obviously, Italy with three at the back, De Rossi holding, and those work horse-like midfielders. It's going to be very interesting to see how well Italy's defensive game pans out. I can see them scoring definitely because obviously I think Spain's defense has frailties. But it's going to be it's a mouth-watering tie because I really can't call it either way. Have you got anything to add on this one, Elias?
No, I'm happy with what you've said, and I can add one thing then. Italy's defense, even they played a full strength team against Sweden, they looked really shaky. So if they can shake off of that shakiness, if that's the say, I think they can go and beat Spain. But Spain are a really good team, and Morates got going in this tournament, so I think Spain will go through.
Just,
So
but I'm just going
Oh,
to
you
raise a
ruined
point.
my
I'm gonna.
quote.
I just.
no,
I'm
I had a
sorry.
pun.
I'm sorry.
You ruined it.
Oh, okay,
Go on.
okay. No, go for it. Go for it.
I was just gonna say. After I was just gonna say, will Italia Swift shake it off? But the flow's gone. It doesn't
Oh.
matter. It's irrelevant.
Still, I don't even think the flow was ever there for some.
No.
It was there.
No.
You ruined it. We'll never know.
Moving on to my point, which I'm sure is going to be a lot more impactful. Spain lost their only test in the group.
Right? Yes, they did.
So,
So did the cricket.
no, no, Turkey and Czech Republic were awful. Even their last game against each other, it was just I can't, without using a curse word, I can't even describe that game.
Mm.
Croatia were the only threat to them in that group, as it turned out to be, because Turkey didn't turn up, and they lost it. So maybe that gives Italy a huge confidence booster. And even when resting players, Italy weren't bad, and they did rest players, whereas Spain was a different story. Maybe.
I completely forgot about the Czech Republic result. That's actually a very good result to look at because Czech Republic held strong for 88 minutes. And they're arguably not a very good side.
Not at all.
So it's going to be interesting how you could argue a better defense copes with Spain, whether they've hit their groove and they're going to start scoring more and more goals, or whether that Czech Republic result is a good little taster of what we're going to see from Italy, and if they can hold strong for 90 minutes, possibly 120, or maybe even just nick through, or maybe even just smash Spain. You know what they may. We don't know. So. The last set of games, which will decide the final quarterfinal. First one is France-Ireland.
That's going to be a sweepstake. Jesus.
France, who top their group. I don't think they've actually been very impressive. France.
I still think that's going to be probably a 4-5-0 because Ireland, even though they drew against Sweden, they have played awful this tournament. Why did I say even though? Sweden was But yeah, I have not been impressed by Ireland. I thought they would, of course I didn't think they would go through the group.
Well, I thought they'd finish bottom on 0 points,
yeah.
so...
Yeah, as we said in I think that was the first or second episode, we thought they were going to be absolutely battered by every team in the group. Even Sweden, and you see how that turned out.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I have no hope for Ireland, and I think France is going to go out and beat them outright 4-5-0.
Yeah, as much as France haven't really impressed, I definitely agree with you there. Ireland, I don't want to use the word gifted a win by Italy, but Italy
I understand what you're saying.
Italy gave them the best conditions for that fairy tale to happen. If you understand what I'm saying, they dropped players, and they allowed Ireland to not be out of the game at any point, and Italy almost sat back against a weak team and invited pressure onto them, which of course it was just waiting for an Irish hero and whatever, and the story to be written, and it's not going to happen against France, because I think France will probably put out their strongest performance, because I think Deschamps will know his team a lot better, because I still feel that Deschamps doesn't really know how his team works at its best.
Well, yeah, I was actually gonna raise that point. Sorry, Kyan. Do you think Olivier Giroud will start?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I think he will, but I'm not sure whether he should. I know I was just slightly contradicting myself, but
I'm the complete opposite. I think he should, but I don't think he will.
No, I think in terms of his performances so far, maybe he doesn't deserve to start, but he's so good for France, and I've said it in previous podcasts. He's such a threat. It's like why Belgium used Fellaini. It's a similar principle, and he's just a huge threat, and his form for France doesn't matter, because he just does well for France. So I think he will start.
I think they'd miss a trick if they didn't, because we all pretty much predict a heavy France win. If you're a manager of this round, why would you not look to this game for your strikers to score some goals, get his confidence up for the next big game, which could possibly be against
England.
an England side who will be buzzing off a win against Iceland if they get through. We'll get to that in a minute. But we saw against Belgium, Ireland. If they go at a team who's going to come back at them, they're going to concede goals. And France, if Ireland go at France and they don't get score early, France are probably going to just keep bombarding, but probably just break through. And then if they break through one, I imagine they'll keep scoring and scoring and scoring because Ireland won't sit back. They'll want to. They've been quite fiery, and they've been quite. I don't want to say desperate. Quite. I can't. I'm just going to use the word desperate. They're quite desperate to score, especially against Sweden. You saw they were although Sweden didn't get a shot on target in that game, they were leaving space on the right for Martin Olsen. So I think if they are going to go at France, France are going to have a lot of space, especially on the wings with Payet.
Yeah,
and it depends if Koeman, Martial, or Griezmann plays, whoever plays on the left. I think this could be a big win for France. But if France just don't turn up and Giroud misses loads of chances, then Ireland could win this. I mean, that's the great thing about football is you can predict anything, but anything can happen.
Ireland have had too many fairy tales.
Wow.
They're not going to have another one, I don't think, personally, but yeah.
Okay. So, the winner of that will play probably the biggest game of the groups. The Land Derby. Ice versus Ing.
The Land.
Supermarket versus Country. It is the mighty
is that
Three
controversial?
Lions. Iceland is a supermarket.
Paid promotion.
I feel that's controversial.
Other supermarkets are available and are likely to be hammered by England. So, England versus Iceland. We're all pretty hopeful for this one, right?
I feel sorry for Iceland. The fact that them winning a game puts them in the harder bracket of the tournament, the harder side of the bracket.
But I'd argue it gives them an easier draw.
But yeah, I was about to say because
I'd say Croatia is a harder team than England at this point in the tournament.
which is worrying for England. But come on, England should win.
Should.
We can tiptoe around the hype. We can tiptoe around the everything. We can just tiptoe around England and the press thoughts and everything. But England should win this game easily.
But England have struggled against teams who want to sit back and counter-attack, which
and
I'd argue Iceland do. So England, are they going to struggle to break down Iceland? And also another interesting is what team will England play? Because obviously they failed to break down Slovakia.
With the changed lineup.
With the changed lineup, so who do you think will start for England in this big game?
Not Jack Wilshere and Jordan Henderson.
Speaking more up front, really. I think we pretty much all know the midfield and defence.
I don't know.
Looking at Hart, Walker, Cahill, Smalling, Rose, Dyer, Rooney, and then I think the front four are all in. I think Lallana's probably definitely going to start.
Yeah,
I think he's the only one certain out of those. I think Ali could be dropped.
That's the interesting one for me. I think that and the strikes, like you said, they're the debatable positions. Without Ali, nothing changed. So it's a difficult one to judge.
Do you think he'll give someone like Barkley a chance who hasn't played yet?
This is what I was thinking, but I don't know whether that's Roy's thing to go into a knockout stage as a tournament and still experiment. I think he'd rather revert back to something that didn't work too well and hope that it does work because it's worked in the past. So that's why I think he might start Ali. As for the strikers, I actually thought Vardy was good when he played. I don't know whether people debate that. I thought Vardy was a lot more energetic. He closed down a lot better. And while wasn't particularly a massive threat, there was still that underlying threat because of his pace and his work rate. So I thought he had a good game, but still.
I think talking about France, about getting Giroud scoring against Ireland. This is going to be England's. If England get all the way to the final, fingers crossed, this is going to be the easiest game England play.
Yeah.
In the knockout stages, so
definitely.
With that in mind, do you play someone like Kane, who has been struggling to score, and try and get him to find form? Vardy, I think you probably have to start Vardy at this point.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think you could probably have an argument for starting Vardy on his own, not starting Sturridge or Kane, and having, but then you could, and then having Sturridge as an impact substitution or Kane as an impact substitution, or both of them if you're desperate for a goal.
See,
It's gonna
go on, Elias. We'll see your.
Let's hear your 2 cents.
I just feel like this would be such a good game if Andy Carroll was in this squad.
Oh, okay.
Because
Not this again.
yeah, like if Andy Carroll was included in this squad, he would go into this game, and you were gonna pump Rose and Walker down the wings and just cross the ball in. Like he would get at least 2 goals. I'm not even kidding. Yeah,
I actually think you raise a really good point that England's fullbacks have been really good. Lallana's been really good, and it's all like not wing players, but it's all service from out wide. And Andy Carroll would have thrived under that.
yeah.
And we have a problem in that we've got no strikers that are taking advantage of that. Which like I think that's actually a really interesting point to raise, and I know it's a very much a hindsight point. But
Like England brought 4 strikers who's pretty much got the same play style, I'd say, except that like Vardy is probably an exception there. But Sturridge, Kane, and Rashford, Rashford and Vardy are pretty much alike. But at least Kane and Sturridge, I think, are pretty similar in the way they play. And but they don't really any of the strikers pose a threat in the box. Like they don't pose a threat in the air. I mean, and like, why didn't you bring Andy Carroll or Grant Holt?
Wow.
Yeah,
just
Get him on the plane.
But it's an interesting point. It's an interesting point you make about Andy Carroll. What would you think if we played currently our most prolific header of the ball, a goal scorer while heading? What if we played Wayne Rooney up front? Do you think that would get a huge backlash, or do you think that actually has validation in this sort of game?
I think, like, I think the only reason he wouldn't start Rooney up front is because he's been so impressive in midfield.
Yes.
Like, if he'd have been awful in midfield, but then like, all right, that didn't work. Let's because in the first game against Russia, a lot of the service was crying out for Wayne Rooney's like natural instinct to finish. I think I said that at the time after the result in the podcast, but Rooney's been too impressive in midfield to move into striker. We have to resort to one of the strikers that we've brought to know to do that job.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, I think Kane should start. Like, I actually think Kane should start and let him get the run into the game, and especially against an Iceland team, which isn't going to be, like you said, it's going to be the weakest team we're facing in the knockouts. Just let him get a feel for the tournament, because he hasn't actually he was dropped, which isn't something Harry Kane's going to be used to. So I think that he probably needs to. Like, I don't know if I remember correctly. You can correct me on this if I'm wrong, Phil. Did he have not a brilliant start to the season for Tottenham?
No, that's right. I think he went like I think it was 9, 7. It's somewhere around 7 to 10 games without scoring. I think
exactly
when Spurs beat City 4-1. That was when he scored his first, and that was like a dodgy shin off his knee. Like, well, not a shin off his knee.
And that's all it could take.
Yeah, and then he just started scoring.
And from then on, well, he boosted Spurs up to 3rd in the league. Sorry to bring that up, that it wasn't 2nd, but.
I think Kane is the most all-round striker England has.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's the most natural striker in that if there is a good service, Kane is probably debatably Vardy as like maybe a better, more prolific. Being able, like, the goal he scored in the last game, like it was like a poacher's goal. But I think Kane's more naturally suited to responding to good service, even though he does like to create things himself. So personally, I go with Vardy Kane. And
one little change I wanted to talk about. Oh, Ali behind. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
One little change I think I spoke about in a previous podcast is I don't know why Dyer is playing against teams who aren't going to attack you. What do you think to perhaps Dyer being dropped for someone like Wilshere, who's going to look to attack from the midfield, bring balls from deep, or maybe even someone like Henderson, who aren't going to literally sit in the hole and. I mean, Dyer does give things to the attack, but not to the extent someone like Wilshere.
What? So, yes, I'll,
So if Iceland aren't going to have much of the ball, I don't see the point of starting Dyer. Start him in the next game if we win and go against France. That's fine.
By all means,
That's
yeah.
great. Because I think he probably should start in that game. But in a game like this, and against teams like Slovakia and Russia who want to sit back, I think it's probably better that we play a more attack-minded midfielder, or midfield in general.
Yeah. Well, my dad's a Tottenham fan. My dad doesn't know anything about football at all, really. Like he's a rugby fan, and I can't remember whether I mentioned this in the podcast in the last episode or not. But I'm going to go ahead and mention it again because I think it's quite a valid point. He said that against Slovakia, where they sat back, Dyer had a pretty poor game because he had nothing to do and tried to attack, and he wasn't good at it. He didn't add anything. I think that's in support of what you said, in that maybe Dyer doesn't need to start against these teams that don't attack, because going forward he's a lot weaker than some other options. Like even Wilshere, it pains me to say it, but Wilshere is a better option going forward than Eric Dyer. But the fear I have is Eric Dyer's had a really good tournament, apart from maybe against Slovakia, but he didn't do anything wrong. He just maybe tried too hard to maybe make up for Wilshere and Henderson's lack of creativity, which wasn't the right thing to do. But
yeah,
if you drop Dyer and Dyer loses his form, we then have a game against France, and even if we get through that game against Germany, Italy, or Spain, and Dyer is going to be first name on the team sheet in those games. And if he loses his form and doesn't sweep up as well as he has done, it's going to be really hard for England to beat those big teams.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with your point, but that's the fear I have in dropping Dyer.
So onto the part of the show everyone loves. It's game time. It's game time.
Oh, no.
And Elias is currently 3-1 up against Michael.
3-1.
Euro. What are we calling this?
Show off.
The Euro show off. That's an awful name.
No, it's
So this game is called the Anagram Nam Gam Fam.
Oh my Jesus Christ.
And
I'm so
what
bad
we'll
at
be
these.
doing is I will be giving you some anagrams, and you have to tell me the footballer. Now I didn't have much time to do this. I'd stayed up last night for a certain referendum, and I'm knackered. So these are awful. I apologise.
Can I ask a question?
What?
Are you gonna read it out?
I'm going to read it out. I'm going to read
Oh,
the anagram
no.
out, and you have to tell me the footballer. All these players are at the Euros, so
Okay.
don't worry. I've only got 6, so I've got 3 each, and if it's a draw, I'll give you both a point. Right, so who wants to go first? Anyone? I've got a coin here. Go on. Heads or tails?
Tails.
It's
Heads.
tails, Elias. Do you want to go first or second?
Second.
No.
Second.
I'm so bad at these.
So, Michael, your first one is Heart Bagel.
Heart bagel. Can the spelling of heart?
It's literally like the organ.
Oh right. Well, I am not going to get any points in this.
Okay.
Heart bagel.
Actually, you know what? If you don't get it, I'm going to pass it over and give the other person a chance to get a point. Because then it makes it.
Are we allowed a break to think for a minute?
No.
Oh, so how long do I have?
Literally.
Okay.
Now.
Heart bagel.
The listeners are waiting patiently. Half of them probably already have it.
Really? Oh, I'm going to
Christ.
pass. I have no idea. I can't do this
At least
without
you got
writing them
guesses?
down. I'm going to write it down.
I had a player in my mind, but
Go on.
it doesn't fit.
Go on.
That's the problem.
Just guess.
If you've missed any words, but I'm gonna say Baumgarten.
No, it's Gareth Bale.
Yeah, okay.
But
What?
these are first names also. First names.
Wow,
Gareth
it's
Bale.
So
Could
hard
have
to do
said-
without writing it down.
Yeah,
I'm going to
Heart
write
bagel.
it down in future.
Oh, bagel. Okay, so no points for that. Second one, Elias, you go first. If you get it wrong, Michael gets a chance to steal the point. Gas room rise.
Gas room rice.
The three words: gas, room, and rise.
Gas room rice. Gas room
That's
rice.
probably copyrighted. I'm gonna stop.
This is so hard to think.
I'm gonna give you
Yeah.
5 seconds. It was hard for me to work, to find
So
them. All right.
difficult.
Maybe you should value me more to this podcast. Now.
Oh my god, yeah.
But come on, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds.
Yeah, I can't get the Gaston Ramirez.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, couldn't get it out of my
Wait,
head.
so you've got Gaston Ramirez, who is Uruguayan, so isn't it yours? Michael, any guesses? I'm gonna give you 10 seconds.
Oh, okay.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done. Right,
Rooney.
sorry.
No,
No,
not
go on.
Rooney.
Rooney? No.
I saw Room and I was like, Rooney.
No, sorry.
No.
The correct answer is Sergio Ramos.
What? Oh my Jesus Christ, we're so
Okay.
bad at this, Michael.
This is embarrassing for you, Phil.
Is it? Right, this one's a quite... Okay, they start getting a bit desperate at this point.
Oh,
This one is for you, Michael. A dead gift.
a what? Sorry,
A dead gift.
as in give,
A
as in
sp-
the
A
poor
D
context
E
of
A
given.
D. Yes. I gived you. A
David
really
De Gea?
difficult anagram. Oh, he's done it!
No.
He's got it!
Yes.
David De Gea is correct.
Oh, no.
Now, Elias, this is your one. Mud oil rack.
That sounds dirty.
It's a mud oil rack. It's where you put your muddy oil.
What?
Correct.
How do you spell rack? R-A-C-K?
CK, yes.
Oh, is this... Is it the Slovakian player Mac? I can't remember
No.
his first name. No, I don't know.
That's
I'm
a good
so
shout.
Sorry.
That is a good... I appreciate that, but...
Any Michael, any guesses?
Oh, no.
The correct answer is Croatian playmaker Luka Modric.
Damn. Wait.
It's correct, Michael. I've checked.
Oh, man. That was so difficult, that one.
So,
I couldn't
Michael,
even...
your one. We told Wanker Boris.
No, that is... yeah, that is insensitive. Hang on, I'm just writing it out. We told Wanker Boris.
Yes, Wanker spelled correctly with an ER at the end. The B is not necessarily a capital.
Okay.
I'm proud of this one. This is a good one.
It's relevant. It is so relevant.
Mm-hmm.
We're a footballing podcast. Let's not get into it.
I don't know what you're talking about. Who's Boris?
It's. Don't know why I was going to say Axel Witsel
This is-
then.
This is a
Maybe.
poor showing.
Oh, come on. This is a difficult game. At least I've
I mean,
got a point.
I figured it out.
But.
I got it straight away.
Obviously. I should hope
you
so.
made it.
I have no idea. I'm sorry.
Okay, Elias, any suggestions?
No.
No? Alright, do you want me to tell you?
Give us a hint. Like, don't
Yes.
don't like give us a hint.
They haven't scored scored a single goal at the Euros so far. Silence.
It's like, no.
Okay, let's just move on.
Yeah.
What is
The
it?
correct answer is Robert Lewandowski.
What? How does...
What?
Robert Lewandowski.
Wait a minute.
What? Hang on. What was your clue?
Hasn't scored a single goal at the Euros.
He has an eye.
Wait, yes.
Yeah.
You said they.
They-
And I thought you meant as a
What?
team.
Yeah.
What? No, they're all players.
Yeah, I heard they.
They,
Yeah,
I meant,
but-
yeah, I said
yeah,
they. As in they. As in
They
they
is
haven't.
plural.
They haven't. No, it isn't.
Well,
Yeah.
it wouldn't
It
be
can
a
be
she.
either.
You wouldn't be a she, would it? So you could have just said he.
Yeah.
He. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm playing the pronoun game. Okay,
They.
so Elias, you have to get this to draw.
Oh my god.
Road rains. Rains as in pause. Road rains.
Road rains. Road rains. Why is this so hard?
Because it is.
Oh.
Oh, is it? Have you got it,
I've
Michael?
got it. I've got it.
Oh,
I've got it. I think I've got it. I hope I'm not going to embarrass myself now.
Pressure's on. If Elias doesn't get it, it doesn't matter. 'cause-
Wait, this is first and last name.
Yes, first and last
How the hell do you...
I've got it. I've actually.
name.
Why is
What
this...
are we?
Michael's loving the fact that he knows it.
Why is this... I'm so bad. Ugh. No. No, this.
Giving up?
I see Arda Toran.
Michael.
I see Arda.
Is it
Michael, give it to him.
Croatian legend Dario Srna.
It is Dario
I-
Srna. Correct. So Michael, with a big 2-0 win, bringing it back to 3-2 after last episode's shenanigans.
Oh, that's my first
anything.
deserved victory.
No, that is your first.
Can I? Yeah, you're wrong, Phil.
Why am I?
Because Dario is Dario.
What do you mean?
You haven't got a J in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Does his name have a J in it?
Yeah.
You wouldn't have got it.
it does.
Wait, whose name?
It does.
Dario
It
Srna.
has a J in it.
I'm being cheated here. No. This is
Dario
unacceptable.
Srna?
This is.
You wouldn't have got it anyway.
This is unacceptable. No. I'm gonna storm out.
He wasn't only playing the pronouns game; he was also playing the phonetics game with his
I
spelling.
can't believe it. They literally have given me jip because I spelled Dario Srna wrong.
That it
As if it's
wasn't
got no.
It didn't
no,
matter anyway.
No,
'cause
hang
Ellis
on.
didn't get it.
No.
So.
No, I did write it. It's just it was silent, like in his name.
Oh no, you're right. Exactly. You were playing the phonetics game as well as the pronouns game. Like
I didn't tell you how road was spelt. I said rains was spelt as in pause. So peace and love, my brethren.
So with one member of the podcast down.
I think he's actually gone. I think he's given up.
He's left. He has left. I heard the door
Oh.
shut behind him.
Wow. And we say goodbye to Elias.
And Europe.
We may never see him again. Oh my goodness. Okay, so thank you very much for listening to this controversial, at times, and not very controversial the majority of the time podcast. If you want to tweet us, get involved at inthemixershow. At
Oh.
inthemixershow, and if you want to email us, inthemixerpodcast@gmail.com. We love you very much. Say goodbye, Elias. Bye.
Bye.
Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Say goodbye, Michael.
Bye.
And I'm Phil. I'll see you guys next time.